This is an ACL, or Access Control List Lab. The second access list entry will be to permit PC2 and only allow it to access server 2 using HTTPS. So this PC has an IP address of 10.1.2.102 and the server has an IP address of 10.1.1.101. So both of those devices simply have the next IP address in the list. So access list 100 permit TCP host. Host is going to be 10.1.2.102. So 10.1.2.102. Destination host is going to be 10.1.1.101. Now notice the mistake I've made. I'm going to ignore it for the moment, and later on I'll correct it when I show you how to edit access lists. Be very careful when you edit your access lists. You could by mistake delete your entire access list. And in this example, we need to permit HTTPS, which is port 443. It's important that you learn your port numbers. So do show run pipe include access. We've now got those two entries in our access list. Now we're told that no other PCs or servers on subnet 10.1.2.0 should be able to access devices on subnet 10.1.1.0. So access list 100 deny, in this case, IP 10.1.2.0 with our mask going to a destination of 10.1.1.0 with our mask. Now, in the real world, you'd use a word such as log here, but I'm simply going to press enter here because Packet Tracer doesn't support logging. Notice the difference on a real router. Access list 100, deny, IP 10.1.2.0 going to 10.1.1.0, and notice we have the option to log traffic. So there are more options than available in Packet Tracer, but Packet Tracer is great for learning. Now we're told that hosts on the subnet can access any other network. So we need to add a line here permitting IP from 10.1.2.0 going anywhere. So show access lists. That's the access list that we've configured. Notice access list number entries are added automatically. That allows you to do this. So IP access list extended 100. Notice instead of using access list 100, I used the command IP access list. That would allow me, for example, to delete an entry in the access list. So if I said no 30 and then typed do show access list, notice that individual line has been removed. If I typed no access list 100, that would remove the entire access list. So be careful doing that. Notice the whole access list has disappeared. So you want to go into the access list and then edit the access list manually. So that was the first line, access list 100. And here's the problem when you remove entries. So let me try that again. Access list 100. Access list 100. So be careful deleting access lists. You'll regret it in the real world if you do it by mistake. And our last entry, is that. So again, do show access list. Let's confirm that that's correct. We are permitting the first host to access the first server using HTTP. We are permitting the second host, and notice there is a typo there. So let's correct that. So IP access list extended 100, no 20, and then I can add it back by saying permit TCP host 10.1.2.102 host 10.1.1.101 equal 443. So do show access list. That looks better. It's important to verify things. So I've checked that line. That line looks good. That line has also got a mistake. So no 30 deny. 30 needs to be 255. So let's verify again. That looks good. That looks good. That looks better. That looks good. So once I've verified my access list, I need to bind it. So interface gigabit 000. Command to use is IP access group 100, because that's the access list number that we're using. And then we specified either inbound or outbound. In this example, it's going to be inbound. Now, in the real world, you can use a command called reload in a certain amount of time. If you're working remotely, you're going to want to use a command like that. So before you apply your access list, and only if you are able to do a reload of the device, you would say reload in 10 or something like that. That means that the device will reload in 10 minutes. So the idea is, if you by mistake lock yourself out of your router, you can get it back by forcing it to go back to an older configuration if something goes wrong. So for the real world, that's a good thing to do, especially if you're working remotely via Telnet or SSH. Here we connect it to the console, so it doesn't matter. We're working directly on the console, so an access list won't block us out of a Telnet session, which it may do if we're working remotely. So we've bound the access list to this port. There's our access list, so let's test it. Can PC1 open up a web browser to the first server? Yes, it can. Can it open up a web browser to the second server? Looks like it can't. And as you can see there, the request timed out. We could also test it this way. Can it ping the servers? Notice it can't ping the servers, even though that server 10.1.1.100 is available via a web browser. So the access list is working as expected. What about PC2? Can it ping either of the servers? No, it can't. Can it connect to the second server using HTTPS? Need to specify the right IP address. Yes, it can. So notice first PC can access the first server using HTTP. Second PC can access the second server using HTTPS, but not using HTTP. If we look at our access list, show access list, we see matches on the various lines. So at the moment, 65 matches on the first line. Let's generate some traffic. Notice that's increased. So that's working well. look at the image page using HTTPS. It was 66 matches. Now it's 88 matches. So that's working well. This is 52 matches. Ping the servers. Notice that's increasing. We should be able to access devices on the internet. So if I go to cisco.com, that should hopefully work. It took it a while, but there you go. There's cisco.com. Show access lists. We see the matches. What about facebook.com? That also works. We see the matches. So as an example, on this PC, can we ping cisco.com? Yes, we can. And we see the matches. So at this point, we've completed the lab. We configured the router with an access list. We bound the access list on gigabit 0/0/0 inbound, and we verified that things work as expected. I also fixed some mistakes that were made in the access list configuration. Don't just configure, always verify. How did you do? Were you able to complete the lab? Did you get it working? The last step before I forget is to save the router configuration. So WR, for the exam, you may have to use copy running config startup config. Don't forget to save your configuration when finished.